On Central News tonight, watch out for rental scammers in the Bay of Plenty. Hear all about the Trucking Festival in Tauranga and international attention for hobbits at Hobbiton. Those stories plus your weather update at 7:30 and 10:30 tonight. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Friday the 13th of February. I'm Hilary Entwistle. The days of clothes and gift shops in Tauranga CBD could be over, according to a recent report confirming the centre is developing into a commercial hub. A City Council Commission report has confirmed that city centre retailers were being hit hard by competition to the extent that they now accounted for only 13% of the city's total retail spend. Consultant Martin Jenkins says retail turnover in the CBD had dropped by 16% since 2006. Hamilton City Councillors have voted in favour of funding $100,000 on a study into upgrades for the 50-year-old Founders Theatre and have set aside $13.8 million for expected work at the reconvened discussions for the 2015 to 2025 draft long-term plan yesterday. Mayor Julie Hardacre says it's time to get serious about its future. A 2013 resident survey showed satisfaction had declined with scathing feedback on the lack of hot running water in the toilets, aged decor and uncomfortable seats. The White Ferns opened their ODI series out Mount Maunganui in stunning style yesterday, sweeping aside a jaded England at the Bay Oval by 67 runs. England captain Charlotte Edwards opted to bowl first on a grassy wicket in breezy fine conditions, but regretted her decision when opposing skipper Susie Bates smashed her 6th ODI century off just 108 balls and established a new record opening stand against England of 157. People looking for a place to stay in the Bay of Plenty are being warned of an international property scam. Bay of Plenty police have received a number of complaints from people who have handed over money, only to find the property is not available. Police say because money is normally transferred online to an overseas bank account, it makes it harder to track the funds. They're advertising that people check the credentials and the source of the bank account number before sending any money through. The scammers based in Nigeria copy rental ads of homes that are already rented and re-advertise them again. Now for our region's weather, tomorrow Hamilton it will be fine with southeast breezes and a high of 27 and a low of 12. The rest of the Waikato mainly fine with isolated afternoon and evening showers inland, southeast breezes. Paeroa 26 and 13, Matamata 24 and 13, Te Awamutu 27 and 12, Tokoroa 24 and 10. In the Bay, Tauranga mainly fine with easterlies developing, a high of 25 and a low of 13 for you Tauranga. Te Puke 23 and 13 low. Looking to the seas now for our marine forecast. West coast, southwest of 15 knots, high tide is at 6:47 in the evening. East coast, Bay Plenty, Saturday morning, 25 knots with rough seas. Moderate easterly swell offshore, your high tide is at 3:26 in the afternoon. Still to come on Central News, Pay It Forward, an interesting story of middle-income New Zealand. But after the break, the trucks are in town. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. If you like trucking around, you may like to head to Matamata this Sunday for a massive trucking festival.
Okay, well, there's a gentleman in town here, we'll leave his name out, who managed to get a whole lot of us into a meeting and start the process. And then he kind of just backed off and left us to it. So we got together and we decided, well, what could fit with that and that. We came up with country music, we came up with something for the kids. And it just kind of rolled through and got going and got more exciting, and now it's actually really, really fast. It's very close.
So this is the first one. If I went along on Sunday, what can I expect? Obviously a truck or two, but what else?
Okay, we've got over 100 trucks registered actually, so we're really thrilled to bits. There's a top town event for primary school children, and then our big kids are going to have a go too, the fire brigade and people like that, so at the end. We've got country music, Brendan Durgan, Cooper's Run, Jodie Doreen from the South Island, and Trevor Stevens and Kylie Austin from Auckland. All of them have won things in their own right, New Zealand wide and overseas. So yeah, a great lineup of lots of fun.
Over 100 trucks, that's a lot of trucks. So we won't go through all the single trucks because otherwise we'll be here for a while. But what are kind of the trucks that you think are going to be the real ones to see?
Okay, well, from my point of view, I love old. The oldest truck we've got is a Model T Ford in 1942. It was born, and right up to our major sponsors for the event, which is Truck and Trailers, and they're bringing brand new Mercedes and Freightliner. So I know there's going to be both ends of the scale.
Wow.
We've got some tractors, we've got vintage machinery, military, very high interest stuff.
Yeah.
And one particular person from here in Matamata is bringing, I won't give you the secret, but he's bringing a very high interest vehicle, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
That sounds intriguing. So it isn't just about the trucks and that kind of thing, is it? There is a fundraising element to this.
There is. Their whole idea was to get behind Poland. They're wanting to add a palliative care wing. And the people that got together thought, right, how can we do this and involve our community? And so Swap's on board. Andrew Swap has been, of course, a major thing because he's involved in them and he's been able to do all the difficult traffic things that I know nothing about. And so hopefully we'll have a wonderful day, and there'll be lots of people come and look at all the things and take part and raise some wonderful funds for our local hospital here.
Why trucking though? Of all things, is it just because Matamata's got quite a close trucking connection?
Yeah, there is. And another thing that helped along was Kohepa came and spoke to the Lions and Rotary, and we were at that because I'm a Rotarian myself and my husband's a Lion, and he was at our table and, now you're doing the trucking festival, he said. I said, yes, and he said, well, we'd like to come along, and Swaps are actually sponsoring or helping them with that next edition. So he will be there, Kohepa will be there, and he is filming footage. So goodness knows who might end up on TV from that.
So don't just go to watch the trucks, you could also be in the background waving.
Could be.
And Cooper's Run, so they're playing on the day, but they're actually playing the night before.
Yes, they've come on board and put up an extra concert, and $5 of each ticket sold goes to Poland as well. And that's a tribute to Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton. So lovely old songs done by a fantastic young couple at the Matamata Boat Club on Saturday night. Correct.
That's this Sunday in Matamata. In our next story, most of us think of the stereotypical beneficiary when we think of people that need charity. I found out when I spoke to Pay It Forward, that's not always the case.
Yep, we are. We're, as I say, a volunteer organisation, and the stock of items that we have got at the moment are being stored in our volunteers' sheds and garages. And as you saw before, our garage is nearly full with the couches and stuff. Yeah, so it's getting pretty tight. So yes, a bigger premise would be good, all in one place.
We do have mainly food, but we will accept anything really that people want to give away. As Jeff was saying, we've got couches and chairs, we've got a high chair, we've got baby clothes, we've got other clothes, we've got everything from pillows to, we can outfit a kitchen, we've even got a TV, linen, basically anything that could be needed to outfit a house.
Is there really a need for something like this in Tauranga?
Yeah, there is a lot of need out there, and that's basically how we got involved with Pay It Forward. Yeah, you know, both Jeff and I work. I'm a casual teacher and Jeff is a commercial cleaner, but our income is so spasmodic that at times we don't have enough income to cover. So we've found, Jeff found Pay It Forward, and they've really helped us with the food parcel. So now we want to pay it forward, and we want to be able to help others, and and we know people who are in need.
You said that you know other people. Are they your stereotypical beneficiary?
No. We're not your stereotyped beneficiary. You know, we work. We're involved in our church. You know, we're not sitting around doing nothing all day. We're actually very busy people. We're actively involved in our families. But there's just basically, especially when something major happens, something breaks down, that like a car gets smashed in or something, and it kind of eats up your budget. So something's got to go, and often it's the food. Yeah, when we moved up here, we needed furniture and everything to outfit our house, but we were lucky to be able to get Jeff's KiwiSaver due to his illness. So and that enabled us to get some of the stuff that we needed, but we would have been in strife if that hadn't happened.
And I hear you guys had quite a busy Christmas period.
Yes, we did. It's as Maureen was saying, because of people and businesses shutting down on holidays, there are, like me and my job, you don't get to go and clean those premises, etc. And so when they shut down, you don't get paid basically. And because of that, there being so close to the breadline as it were, the bills still keep coming in, and so you've got to look else, got to look seriously at stuff, and as you said, the food comes last probably, and I can understand with kids in that situation and families, they would probably be missing out, and that's where we find most of our families coming in need, is that they're just after the food money, after some food for the kids, which is and we don't really want, and we're people that we don't really like seeing that. So we in this for distributing the food. So it's so that's good.
Visit Pay It Forward's Facebook page if you have goods you want to donate, or if you are in need of something. Coming up after the break, Hobbits, they're international. Welcome back to Central News. While most of us spent our summer at the beach, many foreigners and even many New Zealanders spent their summer at Hobbiton.
We've had a lot of tourists, and we've probably broken all records, to be honest.
Broken all records, what do you mean by that? What are the numbers?
We've never had so many tourists through in any other summer, and probably for the last 5 years we've been, not exactly every year, but we've been doubling year by year for 5 years, so exponentially it's sort of starting to mount up, and it's certainly kept us very busy and well tested.
What do you think has led to that? Do you think that's because now all the movies are out, or...?
I think it's like all things, it's never one individual thing. It's, we visit 20-something countries a year marketing, and when we say marketing, we're really thinking of distribution and getting into distribution channels. So you're visiting wholesalers offshore and inbound operators in Auckland, making sure that the channels where people book travel are well known, or we're well known in the system, if you like. There's obviously the hype around the last movie. There's the word of mouth, and probably the most significant thing of all is, the development of the set, that we think it's pretty much finished now, as far as the set itself, and over the last 2-3 years, taking it from a temporary set to a permanent set, building the Green Dragon, and now word of mouth's taking over. And obviously we do a lot of work with Tourism New Zealand and a lot of other promotional activities we do. I think there's rewards starting to come through.
It's funny, isn't it? Because when I think of, a tour business or something, you just don't even think about all that work that goes into overseas, trying to get, that word out there that, hey, when you come to New Zealand, we literally are Hobbiton.
I don't know whether we are literally Hobbiton, but we obviously try to get it top of mind for people that are travelling to New Zealand. And our market, we're in the international tourist space. That's what we target. And so the only way to do that is get offshore and get into those appropriate channels.
Do you think there's anything else in New Zealand that's quite like this, that's got that international standard, I guess?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot, New Zealand's tourism's a big part of our economy, if you like, or there's a lot of attractions that make up New Zealand for someone visiting. They're not just coming for one reason. There's big events like Rugby World Cup or Cricket World Cup or different events and that drag big numbers to the country, but as a tourist destination, it's the beautiful scenery, the landscapes, and the combination of all the factors, the food, the wine, the people, the attractions, and that sells it. And the number one thing is still, I believe, is word of mouth, that people go away that have visited New Zealand and say, hey, I had a great time. There's some beautiful scenery in the South Island and Queenstown. There's lots of attractions and things to do in Rotorua. We've got Northland, so we're very lucky in New Zealand, and we have to travel a lot, and every time you come home you think, oh, how lucky I am to live in New Zealand.
Surely you must be the number one tour business in New Zealand.
Oh, I think we're certainly up in one of the most significant year, but I wouldn't go as far as saying we're number one, but we're in the top bunch, and we'd like to. We always had a goal of getting into one of the must-dos as such, as a figure of speech, and I think we've achieved that, particularly in the last 12 months.
Are you on those must-do lists of that AA put out and those kind of things?
I think we are on that, and yeah. So there's a lot of things that we're in and hosting that promotes us, and we just had I think there was a big show that we did through Tourism New Zealand. Daddy, Where Are You Going? It's the biggest reality TV show in the world. I think when the original request came in, they were bringing the reality TV show in from China. When they go to a town in China, they evacuate the town to do the filming, and they requested a security staff of 700. And hold on, you're coming to Middleman in New Zealand here. I don't think we need that security. They might have got about 5, I think. But that's millions upon millions. People think Oprah or Ellen are big, but comparatively they're very small shows to the audience that went to. So we've got a big promotion coming up shortly where we're hosting a big event for the Cricket World Cup, and we're going to have a game of backyard cricket, a bit of fun. So that with a lot of celebrities, and hopefully that'll get some really big coverage around the world that hopefully will keep us prominent around the world to the traveller and say, hey, I want to go to New Zealand, I want to go to Hobbiton. So we spend a lot of time in that marketing promotional space.
And of course you can visit Hobbiton just outside of Matamata pretty much every time of the day. And our last story for tonight on Central News, have you ever wanted to have your say to your local MP? Maybe you've want to have a little old grizzle at them, or maybe you are just wanting to congratulate them on a good job. Well, now you can.
Well, basically we felt that often people complain that politicians aren't listening to us, and so we thought it was important that families were able to get in contact with politicians in an easy way, but in a way that politicians would appreciate being contacted, and that's usually email. And so what we've done is created an app where as simply as going to your mobile phone, your iPhone or your Android, you go to our phone app, have your say, it can find who your local MP is, or you can contact all of them, or certain ones that you want to speak to, and a couple of pushes, sets up your email for you on your phone, write your email, there it is, you've contacted them and you've had your say.
What was the reaction from members of Parliament? Were they okay with this?
Well, I think they're used to, when there's campaigns going on, that they are going to receive feedback from their electorate and from members of the public in general. So it's using a method of contact for politicians. But look, I think when you talk to most families, they say, oh, the politicians aren't listening. Look, why don't they listen to what I'm saying? And people often don't know, well, how do I contact them? What's their email address, etc. So this is just a really easy way. It's free. And look, you can be hot under the collar about something. You can just do it very quickly and simply. And we encourage respectfully. and just engage with the politicians. And we find that most of them reply in some way, and it's a good method of communication.
What's been the feedback from MPs?
Well, it's been a pretty new one. You know, look, sometimes when campaigns get going and they get swamped with emails, well, if you're agreeing with them, they like it because they hear their phone buzzing as all these emails are coming in. But of course, if you're challenging them, they're not so happy. But look, I think in democracy, it's important that politicians hear from people. You can't always get the appointment at the electorate office. You can't always get the ear of the Prime Minister. You can't always get the ear of ministers of certain, areas that you want to contact. But this just means that you are instantly given a contact detail, and you can see in an email. And look, it may not be read by them, but it will certainly be read by the office, and the politicians will hear the general sentiment of the community. So, yeah, we'd encourage families to use it, especially if they're passionate about certain issues in their local area.
Well, it's the way of the future, really, isn't it? That's what I like about this. It's kind of bringing democracy into the future.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people are on iPads, are on their smartphones, and it's the simplicity of it, and it takes away that whole, how do I contact my local MP just to let them know what I think? This is just a couple of taps on a smartphone, write your quick message and engage with them, and I think that's good for our elected representatives to have that type of feedback. Maybe we should introduce an app for local councils as well. So you've got me thinking now.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think you would. I think certain phones might explode. But so, are you finding that families were coming to you and saying, "I don't feel like I have a say in my local central government anymore"?
Yeah, I think it's the what do I do and how do I do it. That's the most common thing that we get, and for Family First, when we set up, we wanted to empower families to speak up. It wasn't about us necessarily, it was about families speaking up. So this is a simple way, a free way. It's that ease of access, but it also helps families know just how easy it can be. And look, I think our silence is part of the problem. We need to be more vocal, we need to make our view heard. Unfortunately, we think the only time we can speak up is every third year when we go to the polling booth. But no, it's much more than that. We've got each issue, and if it's an important local issue that you're passionate about, we need to put our feedback in. So simple, free, easy.
You can download the Have Your Say phone app on Android and Apple. Check out the website haveyoursay.org.nz. That is Central News for tonight and for this week. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. Join me again next week for more stories from the Waikato and the Bay of Plenty. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening and a fantastic weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.